You might have heard of the robocall voters in New Hampshire got in January with what sounded very much like President Biden's voice, telling them it was unnecessary to vote in the primary in their state. It was an AI-generated fake, and it highlights what the think tank Demos believes the UK needs ahead of our general election, an agreement between the parties not to use these tools in campaigning. We're joined by Jimmy Wales, the founder of Wikipedia, who's a signatory on a letter, an open letter Demos has put together, and Polly Curtis, the chief executive of Demos, is also here. Morning to you both. Polly, is there evidence of that New Hampshire-style deep fake or anything like it here?
Well, the one that really sent shivers down spines was the audio of Keir Starmer last year berating Labour staffers. No one's ever got to the bottom of who created that, but it was certainly a deep fake, and Labour said it wasn't Keir. So
but there's no evidence that it was from a rival political
There's no
party.
evidence that it was from a rival political party. What we're doing today is calling on the political parties to come together to agree this cross-party agreement on what they can do within their campaigns to ensure that they don't inadvertently create any deep fakes that contribute to this culture of mistrust that will grow around these problems.
Jimmy, how worried are you about this?
Pretty worried. One of the things that we want the political parties to be incredibly careful about is actually amplifying deepfakes. It's quite easy for anybody to be fooled by something they see online that's circulating, but most people understand. You just see something random on the internet, you don't necessarily believe it. If it comes from your MP repeating it or endorsing it, suddenly they've put their trust behind it, and that makes the problem much, much worse. And so we think that the political parties should all step forward and say, we won't do this, that we're going to be incredibly careful.
Neither create it nor amplify it or circulate it.
And I think it's important to say these tools are amazing and wonderful, and they can be used in creative, good ways, but they can also be used in misleading ways. And what we're saying is, don't mislead the public. That's a no-brainer, right? You should never, as a politician, mislead the public and be dishonest. But particularly at this moment, don't use these tools nor allow them to be used in your name.
Yeah, it can be quite a fine line, though. Everyone would say they don't mislead the public, but there's a lot of creativity in campaigning. And as the stakes get high close to an election, there might be things that are quotes put out of context, images of people looking particularly well. Remember Ed Miliband eating the bacon sandwich? It was not flattering, but it was a real image.
Absolutely. But if generative AI is used to create any images that might be satirical, that's a great traditional kind of part of party political campaigning, just label it. Just be open, transparent, and truthful about it.
So an actual caption on any image, Jimmy?
Yeah, definitely. It seems no problem to do that. It's very easy to say, we've used AI to generate a funny meme. Why not?
Yeah, but then, so what, Polly, would you say? So there's no issue with actually creating it. Then you wouldn't have a problem with, say, the Labour Party using a deep fake voice of Rishi Sunak, as long as they put some kind of message on it?
We've put together a draft agreement that's oven ready if they want to use it. It says don't create deep fakes, don't purport that someone said something they didn't say. But if you do for kind of satirical reasons or at the kind of creative kind of edge of this, just label it. Just be really open and transparent. So we're not saying that it might not be acceptable to use at
what
points
would the
in a
words be
campaign.
on the labelling?
That's for the parties to come together and agree. But if you think
What would
about
you
any...
want?
So
This is a fake?
Just produced using a particular tool, like we label pictures from particular photo agencies, for example.
That could be quite subtle and probably not get to the heart of the fact that it is a fake, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think that we would all say this is only the most minimal step that parties can take, is to agree not to do this. There's a lot more that can be done in the future. There's a lot that social media companies should be doing to work on this. I think there's a lot of ways we should be thinking about legislation, but that's for the future. We don't have time for that right now. It's a simple thing that all the parties can do today.
Jimmy Wales, founder of Wikipedia, and Polly Curtis, chief executive of the think tank Demos. Thank you both.